Welcome to episode 3 of the Creative Adventure. Last episode we made a good start on the starting village that we ended up naming South Ellington. We didn't get around to actually decorating any of the houses, which is something I'd like to do. However, some of my decoration techniques rely on command blocks, the debug stick, and player heads. In order to make it a bit easier for myself and save myself having to go on Google every time I need something, I want to make what I'm calling an admin hub. A place that only I can get to, where I can have different libraries for all of the different commands and stuff. I can just pop over there when I need to grab something. Another problem which I have is currently South Ellington is located here, at almost 600,000 blocks on the x-axis, and almost 1.8 million blocks on the z-axis. Now, I've not actually written down or memorized these coordinates, and my current means of teleporting here is this single command block back in the spawn chunks. If I accidentally misclick and destroy the command block, the teleporting command inside it will be lost, meaning I won't be able to get back here as I won't have the coordinates, rendering all of this work wasted. Obviously, I don't want that to happen, so I'm also going to set up a portal room in the hub, which will hopefully mean I don't lose any of my coordinates through unfortunate misclicks. If you couldn't tell, yes, that has happened to me before. Speaking of coordinates though, my spawn chunk is at x 250 and z minus 200. I know one of the values is a positive and the other is a negative. I keep forgetting which way round they are, but when I do get it wrong, I find myself spawning into the middle of an ocean. So, what I'm going to do to again make it a bit easier for myself to remember is to teleport to the coordinates 0, 0, 0 and set up a small room which will contain two portals, one to the spawn chunks and then the other to the admin hub that I'm going to make. So, we'll start there. Right, so let's go ahead and teleport to 0, 0, 0. And it spawned me inside a bunch of blocks, so I'm just going to go ahead and punch a couple of them out. And let me also throw on... let me throw on a night vision potion as well, just so I can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, apologies, because in the last video, I was watching it back on my phone, and the part where I go into the cave underwater, when I was recording, it was fairly well lit up, but watching it back sort of on YouTube on my phone, couldn't see a thing. So, yeah, I apologise about that. I'll try and make a conscious effort to sort of either drink a night vision potion or light up the areas a bit better next time. So yeah, at the minute I'm just digging out a small room. Doesn't have to be too big. How big do we want to make this? Where are the coordinates now? Here. So let's just grab an emerald block, just easily see where the middle is. I'm going to spawn in. I'm going to spawn in here. This is a decent size, I think. Might go down one more layer. How big do we want it? I think that's a good distance. Is that 4 blocks? 4 blocks. Okay, so I've dug out a 9x9 square. I feel like I just need to do one more block sort of each wall, so it's probably going to turn into an 11x11 square. Let's see what that looks like. So I've gone ahead and I've dug out an 11x11 square now instead, 4 blocks high. I've left just the corners in, just because why not? So yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and just turn this all white, just because I think it looks nice and clean. Obviously you don't have to do it, but we're going to be coming here quite a bit, so yeah, I don't mind spending just a little bit of time just making it look nice. Okay, so I've thrown a few lights in, a few little decorative blocks here and there, nothing too extravagant. As you can probably tell, this is going to take you to the spawn chunks, and then this is going to take you to the admin hub, which I've not yet built. So the next thing is to put the commands in to teleport us to the spawn chunks. Now, this is like the 3rd time of me recording this, so if you follow along and you don't get on your first go, don't worry, neither did I. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a block, and I want players in this block, and this block to get teleported. I don't want anyone else to get teleported when the command runs, only players in these 3 blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this block on the left. If I open the F3 menu, we can see that the target block is -1, -1, -7. So we're going to start by doing our teleport command with /TP. I want this to work for any player that stands there. So we're going to do @p for @players, or yeah, @players. Put in a square bracket, and now we're going to hard code the coordinates of the block we're looking at. So x equals -1, y equals -1, and z equals -7. So that's, at the minute, that is only going to teleport players who are on that block that we're looking at now. It's not going to include the 2 blocks to the right. So we've got this block here and this block here, so that's an extra 2 blocks on the x-axis, because again, if you see the targeted block here, it's now 1, -1, -7. We've gone 2 blocks on the x-axis. What we can do is we can add in another part to the command, which is dx. I'm going to be honest, don't know what dx stands for. The way I remember it is distance on the x-axis. So if we put in 2, that is now going to start from, I'll highlight it. Going to start from here, that block there, and then it's going to go for another 2 blocks on the x-axis. So now this is looking at all 3 blocks. Now we want to say where we want them to teleport to. So if we just practice with 0, 0, 0, if I run that, hopefully it shouldn't work. No entity was found, and that's because no player is standing in these 3 blocks. If I move into these 3 blocks and now run it, excellent, it's teleported me. This shouldn't work unless I'm inside that door frame. There you go. So now all I need to do is change it to, I need to get this the right way around, is it 250, 62, and a -200. No entity was found, of course, it's because I'm not stood in the doorway. There we go, that's what we want. So now if I just go ahead and teleport back in, all we need to do now is to stick that command in a couple of command blocks under the floor here. Then hopefully that'll be this doorway done. I'm going to grab a command block. I can turn off this debug screen as well because I don't need that anymore. Whack those in there. And if I just go ahead and copy that command, stick that in there, stick that in there, stick that in there, cover them back over, and if we just get a pressure plate now, there we go. So, unless I spawn some, like, well, let's say spawn TNT, that won't blow up a command block. Unless someone comes in now and mines this floor out of the way and then destroys the command blocks, those coordinates should always be saved there now, and there's a very low chance of it getting removed by accident. Now all we need to do is when we spawn here, just walk into that doorway, and there we go. If I teleport to somewhere completely random, probably a bit too long. Yep, I'm in the floor, of course. Well, that doesn't even matter. I just go ahead now and just teleport to 0, 0, 0. Super easy to remember and quick to type in. I'm here. All I need to do is just to run to here, and we're back at the spawn chunks. So now, all we need to do is we need to do the same for the admin hub, except where is the admin hub? Well, we've not built it yet, so actually, let's go and do that. Now I've teleported to somewhere random. When I say random, I mean 5,100, 5,000. I didn't really want it being close to the spawn chunks, but I didn't really want it in the corner of the map either. So yeah, 5,000 on 5,000 is pretty easy to remember. Although saying that, hopefully I won't need to remember it because we've got the portal back in that little room that we've just built. Admittedly, this is complete overkill, but I'm going to go around and delete all of the blocks out like I did with the spawn chunks, just because I quite liked having just a void and then just like, or the idea of just having like a floating building, which is going to be the admin hub. So take one last look at this area because it's about to get deleted. As you can see, I have now completely removed near enough everything. That's the block we were basically at before. I think I've gone about 20 chunks in each direction, so it was a fair bit larger than the spawn chunk area. And that's because I seem to be loading in, I'm not sure if it's like a hard-coded setting or if I can change it, but I've been loading in up to like, I think between like 12 and 14 chunks away, and I don't know how big this admin hub is going to get. It's just going to be one of those things that just grows over time. So I didn't want to end up having like a large admin hub and then being at one side of it and then loading in sort of like the chunks on the edge that I haven't removed. So that's kind of why I've built it so big. I just hopefully avoid that problem. Not that it'll probably make much difference in reality. So I'm going to start building sort of outwards from this block. This is pretty much in the center of the chunk, and this chunk is obviously in the center of the area I've dug out. So this is sort of like right in the middle. I'm thinking of starting with just like a small room with like a doorway on each of the walls. So there'll be 4 different areas. I think I'm going to have a decoration area, a skills area, a technical area, and like a portal hub, I guess. So there's going to be the 4 main areas. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and build that room now, and we'll see what I end up with. It's not particularly big, but here's the room we're going to spawn in. As you can see, it's nice and colourful. I've added in different colours for the different areas, so skills is going to be green, the portal hub is going to be red, technical is going to be yellow, and then lastly decoration is going to be blue. Now today I'm not going to bother building the technical, the portal hub, or the skills areas. However, I do just have a cheeky little command block hidden around the corner, which will teleport me back to South Ellington. If I just go ahead and teleport back here, we can go ahead and enter the command to teleport us back to the admin hub. Now this might change in the future, but out of these 4 areas, the most important one / the one I think I'll need to visit the most is actually the technical area. Now one thing I haven't mentioned is that you can actually change the direction that players face when executing a teleport command. If you leave it blank, it will maintain the direction that you're facing, it will just move you from point A to point B. But you can also add a little bit extra on the end of it to make sure you always face like a certain direction. Now, you can achieve this result through 2 different methods. First one is by adding the word facing and then the coordinates of a block you want them to look towards. The other way of doing it is by adding the degrees on the X and Y axis. Might sound a little bit complicated, but essentially the degrees on the X axis is saying, do you want to look north, east, south or west? And then the degrees on the Y axis are saying, do you want to look down, straight ahead or up, essentially. Now I want players to always face north, which is the technical doorway, and I also want them to face looking straight on. Now for some reason 0 degrees is south, so 180 degrees is north, and then also conveniently 0 is facing straight ahead. So when I run this, obviously it's not going to work because I'm not stood in the right area. Now if I go ahead and run that command, it's going to teleport all players in the doorway to the admin hub, facing north and straight on. And there we go. So all I have to do now is just to add that command to the 3 command blocks hidden in the floor. Seal them up. Get some pressure plates down. Let's go ahead and make the middle one gold. Why not? Or does that look a bit stupid? Yeah, that probably looks better. And then just go ahead. And there we go. We've now got a teleporter, the admin hub. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm not going to bother with these 3 areas today. It's just a decoration one that I'm going to focus on for now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start building a little hallway which will take you to a number of different rooms. And I think the first room is probably going to be player heads. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what player heads are, they're a feature exclusive to Java Edition. So, sorry Bedrock players. And they basically function in the same way that some of the other mop heads do, except you can make them look like the head of any other player. You can spawn them in using the /give command. So /give @s player head. If you don't specify a player's username to base your head on, you'll be given the Steve head by default. If I go ahead and add profile equals Zappy180, it will then give me my own head, which I can then place. Rather than using my own head for decoration though, I'm going to be using the heads from accounts that Mojang themselves created, especially for this reason. There are about 50 accounts that have been created that depict common mobs and blocks from Minecraft, such as MHF Cow or MHF Cake. MHF simply stands for Mark's Head Format, which refers to the Mojang employee who created them. One issue I do have with player heads though, is that if you use the pick block button on them, the head that you'll get will have been reverted back to the default Steve head, which means I'll either need to remember all of the names of the heads I want to use, or save down the commands to spawn them in somewhere. Naturally, I'll be going down the commands route, but rather than saving all of the commands in a Word or text file, I want to be able to easily see what the heads will look like, hence why I want to make a room for my player heads. Now here is said room, player heads, floor 1. So this first floor is going to be all of the official /MHF heads, all of the Mojang ones. There is going to be a room just through that doorway at the back where there's going to be more non-official player heads, but for now this main room is just going to contain all of the Mojang ones. I've already prepared the plinths where the heads are going to go, so if we just start with this first one, we'll use Alex just as an example. So player head, and then profile MHF Alex. There we go, we've got Alex's head. Now, I want to save that command that I've just entered to get that head, but rather than saving it in a command block, I want to save it in a sign. I think it just looks a little bit neater. Now, I've already written the command and I'm ready to paste it in. However, as you can see, the text is all red, meaning it won't work. And that is because the command is too long to be run in just the normal chat, so I am going to have to stick it inside a command block. So if I go ahead and stick it in there now, that should work. I'm not going to go through this command, although I will stick it in the description. They changed how commands are written recently, and I could not for the life of me find out anywhere online how to write the exact sign I was after. So it took me a good 2 to 3 hours of just Googling and messing around to actually get what I wanted. So yeah, check the description out and just play around with it yourself if it's something that you want to look into. Anyway, if I go ahead and just hit the button here, it's going to give me a birch sign, because that's what I asked for. Now when I go ahead and place the sign, it's already got the name of the head that I want to spawn in. If I go ahead and just get rid of this head, if I now right click on the sign, it's going to give me Alex's head. And there we go. Every time I right click on the sign, it's going to give me an Alex head. So obviously there's the issue where if I right click on that out in the world, I won't be able to get the same head back. So every time I need a certain head for decoration, I can just run back here, pick up the head that I want, and then go and teleport back. All I need to do now is just go around all these different stone blocks and just add all the other MHF heads in. So we'll see what that looks like in just a sec. I think it looks a lot better now that there's actually heads in here. So if we go ahead and just look at the left here, we've got friendly and passive mobs just on the left as soon as you come in. Yes, Herobrine is friendly. And then we've got hostile mobs on the right. Now, admittedly, probably don't even need like these four just because they are actual mob heads in the game now. But just put them in for completeness. Then over here we've got different kinds of rocks at the back, and we've got some TNT variations. I do quite like the TNT too. I think that one looks really cool. I might be using that one a fair bit. We'll see. We've got some presents, so Christmas themed ones, I guess. Then we've got some of the classic blocks, and we've also got a nice little chest, which I think is pretty cool. I quite like this one. I'm going to be using this one a fair bit. And there's a pretty cool little trick we could do with cobblestone as well, but we'll save that for another day. Then over here we've just got some sort of food / plant items. And then also we've got arrows, a question mark, and an exclamation mark. I've also gone ahead and I've stairway, elevator type thing. I have built another room upstairs, which we'll go and check out, which is going to contain non-MHF heads. So I've got it to teleport me facing sort of the elevator slash doorway rather than into the room, just because if there's like, 10 floors, it's going to be a lot easier just to run directly into that doorway rather than spawn in facing the other way every single time. And yes, I have built an identical doorway over here just because I thought, if I come in through that doorway over there and there's a block that I need here, I'm too lazy to walk all the way back over there, so I thought I'd just stick one in here as well. Now, I'm not going to be filling this room right now. I'm probably just going to start adding to it as and when I need to add new heads. But I'm just going to spawn in a couple just to show you where I'm getting these non-official heads from. So I've been using a website called, surprise, surprise, minecraftheads.com. Link will be in the description. So you want to scroll down to here and just make sure it's on custom heads. And then we'll just take oak planks as an example. So if you then scroll down, it will show you obviously all the results. So if we just go ahead and take the first one as an example. Sometimes you might get a little banner at the top saying head not found or category not found. If that happens, just ignore it, because if you scroll down, there'll be a couple of different commands. So we want the give code, or the give command. So all you need to do is just click copy. Now go ahead and paste that command into a command block. It's too long to be placed in the normal chat, so it won't work if you do it that way. And then just run the command and you should get the head. Now these are fine if you just want to place them as they are around your world, but what we can also do is we can put them in item frames. Now the problem with that though is because the command has named the heads, you also see the name above the block, and we don't want that. Now we can get rid of this quite easily. You can do it in the command block, however I find it a bit easier just to do it on the website. And if you go to the start of the command where it says Minecraft custom name, you want to highlight from the M in Minecraft, scroll down slightly, and then you want to go up to and including the comma just before the word profile. So I go ahead and delete that out now. If I then copy this command, I then paste that back into the command block, it will then just give me the oak planks just with the default name of player head, which when we place into an item frame no longer has the words oak planks above it. So that is the theory behind player heads / my player head library. I think in this floor is probably going to be dedicated to wood type blocks and maybe stone blocks as well if I have enough space for it. I'm thinking the third floor is going to contain more decorative pieces, such as like the little chest we saw downstairs. So things like mini bookcases, things that can, go on desks, such as clocks and globes and any like random bits like that. But as I said, I'm not going to add those in now. I'm just going to add them as and when I actually come to place them in my world. I'm thinking this is probably a pretty good spot to wrap up this episode. So just a big thank you if you've made it this far. And I hope you've learned something, we're going on this journey together. I'm certainly learning a lot, and I'm hoping you guys are getting something out of it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and fingers crossed I'll see you in the next one. See you later.